Today we're going to be reviewing Circle, the psychological science fiction thriller coming out of 2015. We're going to talk about all the things. We're going to talk about making decisions, who deserves to live, who deserves to die amongst a pregnant woman versus, I don't know, anybody else, all that good stuff. And if you want to hear what we have to say, sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to the first ones to die.
Hey everyone, welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. My name is Jonathan, and I'm here with my fellow co-hosts, Jerome and Alex. How y'all doing? Jerome, how you doing today?
Doing good. Chilling, hanging out. I actually forgot to mention last episode that I'm getting into hiking more. Getting back into it. I used to hike all the time when I was in the Boy Scouts, and then just stopped, as I became an adult. No, Boy Scouts is not nerdy, and also we learned plenty of survival skills that you're gonna want me on your side on the post-apocalypse when it happens. All right, I know how to start a fire. Do you know how to start a fire?
We ain't even 60 seconds in. Alex already thrown the attacks out.
Hey,
okay,
I
start a fire without a lighter?
Yes. It's actually not that difficult. Also, it's called YouTube. You can learn anything nowadays on there.
During the apocalypse, there's not going to be a YouTube, all right?
I feel like during the apocalypse, the first thing they're going to figure out how to do is bring up the Wi-Fi again. It's going to be everybody's main concern.
But, yeah, so while my cousin was here in town, we went hiking a couple of times. We went to Rattlesnake Ledge, which unfortunately Rattlesnake Ledge, the actual trail was closed, but we ended up just walking around the lake. And then we went with Lauren as well to Franklin Falls, which is like a waterfall. It's like a short trail, but it's a beautiful waterfall once you hit the end and you can walk alongside the river. It's really great. And I'm hoping to go on more trails and stuff. It was just nice to be in nature, actually be away from a lot of the concrete jungle stuff. So
in
that was
New
cool.
York. Sorry, you said concrete jungle, so I just.
It sounded beautiful.
It's just you didn't commit. All right, if you go try and
no, you were talking. I was trying to let you talk. You want my voice to crack?
Do it. Hit that high note.
I'm sorry, Alicia.
Also went and saw, but saw Unfrosted on Netflix. It's the Pop-Tart parody movie about the creation of Pop-Tarts.
That would have been the last movie I expected Netflix? You to watch.
It's because I was bored and I was scrolling through Netflix and I was like, this came out in 2020. I'm trying to rack up stuff to think about for when we do our expectations episode for 2025.
I think about that too sometimes. I'm like, ooh, this is going on the list.
This is not going on my list.
Hey, we also have a bad list. So
I mean, it's not that bad either. It's just it's very middle of the road.
Close my window real sec, so don't mind me. Continue onward with your low expectations of movies.
Unfrosted it's okay. It the problem with the movie is that it really is the bottom of the barrel, low hanging fruit of cereal jokes. It's all about cereal puns and jokes. And even sometimes not. There's a whole thing where Bill Burr plays JFK and they make jokes about him sleeping around, and it's oh man, haven't heard a JFK's a cheater joke. Or the same thing with the Pop-Tarts where they're hey, or no, not Pop. There's a joke in which there's these two kids in the movie where they just keep finding things in the dumpster, in these cereal companies when they throw away their stuff, and they're in the Kellogg's dumpsters, and he's like, what are you kids looking at? They're like, yeah, sir, listen, mister, when you go in the dumpster, sometimes you find stuff that's worth eating that you wouldn't think of. What you got there? Oh, we got Rice Krispie treats. We've got Rice Krispies got mixed with some marshmallow or something. And he's like, that'll never catch on. And it's a lot of that.
Oh, that whole
like
funny.
Oh my gosh,
future.
it's funny because they don't know how wrong they are.
It's a lot of peanut butter and jelly. That'll never work. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. And it's like, so if you like that, and then granted, I did laugh at times. Like it's just one of those things where if you like punny jokes and kind of like that cheesy humor of like the 2000s, basically, it's the movie for you. But if you don't,
who's in it again?
A lot of people: Jerry Seinfeld, Amy Schumer, James Marsden, Bill Burr, friggin' who else? There's so many people. It's like a very star-studded cast, actually.
I feel when Netflix does that, there's their movies just with a lot of celebrities in it like that. They understand the script's not good.
They're in it for the check.
They're like, the people will come to watch it for the people, not the actual movie or script.
Right, Melissa McCarthy, she's the other like main cast member. But yeah, it's a star-studded cast. Like Maria Bakalova's in it. Thomas Lennon, Jim Gaffigan, Christian Slater. Like it's just Hugh Grant. Like it's just a lot of people. It's okay. It's not an offensive movie or anything. Like if you're just going in just to like have something on, it's that type of movie. I think, if I had to give it a grade based off our grading scale, I'd give it like a C+. It's fine.
Now you have to watch the Hot Cheetos movie and then compare.
Oh, Flamin' Hot.
Mm-hmm.
When is that coming out? I will watch it.
It's already out.
Did it come out already?
Is it?
It's on Hulu. Yeah, it came out last year. It got nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song.
To low fanfare.
Oh yeah, no, nobody was thinking
Nobody
about
watched
that
it.
Movie. Nobody watched it.
That's BS.
But I like and then is there anything else I got going on? I don't think so. Oh, do want to get we talked about this last week, but Alex, I want to get your opinion on it now that you can share. We talked about the Dexter trailer for Dexter Original Sin. I don't know if you found out about that from San Diego Comic-Con.
So I have heard about it. I haven't watched the trailer yet because I'm working my way through Dexter again. And my God, one thing about that show is if they're going to redo it and if they're going to get the main actor back again, they can't give him wigs. That man is not meant for wigs.
No, this is more like they're young Sheldoning it. It's Dexter when he was like younger, and Michael C. Hall is just going to be the narrator, I guess, from the perspective of Dexter reminiscing about his younger life.
Dude, they did him so dirty in that show. Every time they showed him flashback from 16 to 18, he's wearing this really, really bad beaver hair thing going on, and just like he looks like a 30-year-old man in a young man's haircut wig. And no, I'm so happy that they're at least getting another actor because I can't imagine him doing that again in just a terrible wig.
Yeah, he's too old. Michael C. Hall is too old now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else going on. Just playing video games, playing Baldur's Gate 3 again, playing some more playthroughs of Baldur's Gate 3, and looking forward to watching some stuff, like some new stuff upcoming. I don't know what yet, but there's a lot of trailers flying around all over the place. So I'm sure I'll find something to watch to occupy my time. But yeah, Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I recently saw the movie Long Legs with Kaylee. And yeah, I don't know if I liked it or not.
I was watching a review of another movie and I got spoiled on that movie. They gave no spoiler warning. They just got into it and I was so mad because I wanted to watch that movie as well this weekend.
Honestly, you could watch it with the spoilers and still some things are just like, what did I watch? It left you with some questions, but it didn't leave any open, it closed the doors it needed to close, but I was still confused to whether I liked it or not. And I didn't know this. Nicolas Cage is in there. And I didn't realize.
Yeah, he's been all over the promotional material as far as like his name, but not his face. No one so his character's been super secret. Like nobody knows who he's playing or what his character is like.
Yeah, they showed, they put his name card up. They're like, Nicolas Cage is playing blah, blah, blah. And I won't tell you. And I literally turned to Kaylee because there was only two of us in the theater. I literally decided after work, I want to go see Long Legs. And called you, or I texted you. You were busy, so I was like, I'm still gonna see it because like I could only find Long Legs in like a couple theaters now, so I didn't know it was gonna survive another week.
Mhm.
And it's by the theater by Kaylee's house, the AMC. So I called her up, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to see a movie?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm just wandering around." So I got to hang out with her, and it was really nice. I don't hang out with her enough, but I saw his name.
I saw that she was hanging out with Ivan today.
Yeah, she mentioned they went to a wine tasting. Got all fancy.
Oh.
I am not classy enough to do wine drinking. I'll chug it. Like you're supposed to sip the wine. I'll hit it back. I ain't not classy enough.
That means
You're
we
supposed
need
to
to go to a
smell
wine
it.
tasting.
and then drink it.
I also hate the small. They're like here.
And
here's a
even then,
quarter
you're
of a
supposed to
glass.
like swish it. You're supposed to like swish it around your mouth or something when you do taste it.
Yeah, I think the first taste you like spit out too,
Mm,
because they have those spit buckets. Which
mhm.
gross. Wine tasting is not sanitary. They look very nice doing it though. I'm sure they were sanitary.
Thinking of Nicolas Cage, though, real quick, I also forgot to mention I watched Dream Scenario for the first time. Like,
How
the movie
was
came
it?
out
I keep
last
wondering
year.
about that movie too.
It's okay. It wasn't really for me. I get what they were trying to do, but I didn't find it as funny as some other people did. Like other people are like, this movie's hilarious, and I'm like, I mean, it's okay. I
It's
see
alright.
what they were doing, but I didn't really laugh that much watching it. But that's just me personally. It's just the comedy just wasn't my type of comedy.
Wait, where
but
was
it was?
I thought that movie was more psychological.
It's a
messy. Was it supposed to be a
dramedy.
combo?
Really, it's more of like a dramatic comedy. You're not supposed to really take too much of it seriously, which I didn't. I just like that's why I'm not harsh on it. I'm not like being like this movie's trash because it didn't make me laugh. Like no, it's just like I think the jokes didn't land for me is all it is. But it is an interesting commentary on celebrity culture, on a little bit on cancel culture, a little bit, and Nicolas Cage. I will say some of Nicolas Cage's best work. He's great in the movie. And so if you're a Nicolas Cage fan, watch it. Give it a shot. I would say like if you like the movie or not, you just gotta watch it. It's on HBO Max. So
Okay, cool.
I canceled my HBO Max.
How come?
'cause-
you canceled the
because I
Max.
Yeah, and it was at one point it was the one that it was the streaming service that I was using the most, but I haven't used it in like months. Nothing.
What about
has
them
been-
dragons?
I've been
I don't
watching
watch
that.
House of Dragons. I don't like it either.
Shame, y'all missing out on good TV. Matt Smith is.
I
out here
I
acting
never
his
got
ass
into Game
off,
of
and
Thrones.
y'all ain't gonna give him the time of day.
I never got into Game of Thrones, so maybe once I get into that, then I can get into House of the Dragon. But
Actually, you don't need to. House of the Dragons takes place 300 years before that show even starts. So
Well,
really, you
yeah,
can just watch
but
House
I
of the
feel
Dragons
like-
and never have watched Game of Thrones.
I feel like I need to get into like the hype of it all because, yeah. But anyway,
I get where you're at. I was like okay with Games of Thrones and Game of Thrones. Is it Game of Thrones or Games of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. I was okay with it, and people kept
Really,
going, "It's so amazing," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "All right, chill, it's okay."
Yeah, I love Game of Thrones. Don't love the back end seasons, and House of the Dragon
Nobody
has been
does.
just as good. Well, just as good when they don't deviate. Every time they try to go off book, literally, is the stuff I don't like, and I'm like, what are you doing? Don't go off road. The path is right here in front of you. It's laid out. It's all smooth and everything. All you gotta do is drive down it. Don't go off road. That's why the drive is feeling bumpy right now. Stay on the path. What's wrong with you?
Are they mostly off road now?
No, they're still on, but well, the issue is because I've tried. I've been recently trying to, because I don't want to read it. Like just do the audiobook version of Fire and Blood,
he said.
so that way.
At least you're honest. He said at least. He said. 'cause I don't wanna read
I'm
it.
not reading that book. It's too big, and it sounds boring. And just the audiobook, I've tried now 2 times to just listen to the audiobook. And a piece of it is the narrator they chose, but also B, it's the book. Fire and Blood is a lot like the Salmeridian. It's a textbook. That's all it is. It's a history of the Targaryens told by somebody else, telling you the like history of these people. but there's no like dialogue. Like there's no dialogue or anything. It's not like there's like a whole script or a story. It's just it's basically the equivalent of being in a fictional history class is how it feels. When like at least you know how it feels when the audiobook person is reading it, because he's so stoic in how he's reading, because he's reading it straight. And so I will applaud House of Dragons that they have a hard job, because everything they're doing in the movie or in the show is taking the stories of that book and applying the dialogue, like applying the character moments and things that lead to these different events that happen in the book. And so it's like, because in the book you don't get the context, all you get is like what happened, here's what happened, and like a little bit of context of why, but really like here's just the big events and how it one thing led to another that led to another that led to another. The show is like, we're going to give you that, but also the in-between stuff of like, but this is what they thought about that event that happened, and how their thoughts about that event then led to them possibly doing this and talking to this person and doing, you know, yada, yada, yada. So that's a hard job. I can't imagine doing that. That's a really difficult task to do. Like, imagine if you were told, hey, take all of what happened in World War II and write a story about those people and write them as people and all the events.
They do that.
Well, they do that, but I'm just saying that's tough. Or even if you want to go further than that, like medieval times, you know, like we don't have records of what they really thought from a lot of that stuff. We just have records of what happened. So it's interesting the way they made the show. But nonetheless, the show's good. You should watch House of Dragons. Not you two. I'm just saying, like, anyone listening to this podcast.
Oh, we can.
Anywho.
You can, but I don't think
you can't
You've
anymore.
Canceled the Max, and Alex refuses to go to the Max to watch these dragons.
I'm not refusing. I'm just saying, when it's shows and movies, like, I like fantasy, but one thing I can't handle about fantasy is how much lore comes with it all the time. And that's kind of like why I like sci-fi, because sci-fi, they'll just tell you something is something and you're like, okay. They don't have to give you the long history of why this thing is important or like this.
You ain't got to learn the language.
Yeah, like this technology was developed this day because of this person. Cool, I believe that. Well, I go and like, why is that piece of jewelry? Well, it was owned by Lord blah, 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 given to Lady blah, 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 who is the house of blah, blah, blah to this, and the whole reason it's important is it's a whole long-ass story. And I'm like,
when you open the book and there's a family tree, I'm immediately tuning out.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And I need to know like 20 different houses.
Listen, Game of Thrones, it is, I will admit, the barrier to entry when it comes to them names.
Also, another thing
rough.
that bothers me a lot with these like houses and lores is like they come with an assigned animal and they're like really like bragging about that animal. Like with the Baratheons and the bear, they're like, "You're a bear, you're strong," and it's like, calm down.
I thought the Baratheons are the boar. No, they are.
They're the bear.
I'm open to watching it and giving it a chance, because I've never. It's not like I tried to watch it and then stopped. I just never have really like tried to sit down and watch it through. So I'm open to watching both Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. So,
well, unlike AMC Stubs, you will not be banned for 6 months for canceling your membership. You can go back next month if you do decide you want to give House of Dragons a chance.
Exactly.
This is true. Yeah.
Anyway, Jonathan, how are you doing lately?
Good. This week was pretty chill, both work and like outside of work. At work, we celebrated our 15th anniversary. It was our 15th birthday at my job. So yeah, we had our little quince moment. We're 15 now. And what else? Yesterday, I saw a movie that I talked about wanting to watch on the podcast. And it was the movie that just came out called Trap, starring Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
M. Night Shyamalan. I won't give any spoilers, but I overall I really enjoyed it. It's a fun movie. Like, it's fun. I feel like in the middle of kind of in the middle, it dips a little bit and gives a little bit of Tubi movie. But the beginning and end, I felt like both hit very well. Like especially the whole concept of the movie. You've seen the trailer, right, Jerome?
Mhm.
It's like, this father-daughter at this concert, and yeah, it's basically a trap for.
I'm calling the twist of this movie is that turns out he's not the serial killer. His daughter's the serial killer.
I cannot confirm or deny.
Can't believe you just told me he has a daughter.
The spoiler.
That's in
Spoilers,
the trailer.
he has a daughter? I haven't seen the trailer.
Okay, fair enough.
No,
Well,
it's okay.
she's there. She's part of the setup. She's the whole reason he's at this concert.
But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And M. Night Shyamalan's daughter plays the singer in the movie, and it was her like acting debut, I guess. And she like the music in this movie actually hits because she actually wrote those songs, and performed those songs. And she's like an R&B like type singer. And the music is actually pretty good. And she apparently
Is it
put
the
out
same
an album.
daughter who directed The Watcher?
No, it's a different daughter.
Oh, okay, he is.
I was about to say, if it is, I'm like, maybe this is her talent. I heard that The Watchers wasn't all that great.
Oh.
Maybe she's meant to be on stage, not behind the camera. And that's a good thing, because her dad definitely wasn't meant to be on stage or in front of the camera. All right, Lady in the Water proved that.
Dang.
Wow, you
Listen.
bringing up old arguments.
I'm just saying, he not, okay? The cameos are one thing, but old proved that too. It was it's backed up by his performance in Old too.
Well, I will say he does make a cameo in this. That'll be the one spoiler I give.
He makes a cameo in all his movies.
Mm-hmm.
Except After Earth. I think that's just because he couldn't find a
He
way to
knew.
put himself in there.
No.
We got sidetracked
that-
from House of Dragons, but there was also another movie I watched. I wanted to get in there. Sorry, Jonathan. Was the divorce?
Oh, no, go ahead.
The Divorce in Black.
You watched it?
I watched it.
I
And let me
watched
just
it.
say, fuck men.
Yeah.
Not you two. You're fine. Both of you are fine. But the rest of
I gotta watch it now.
Mankind. Yeah, fuck them. Fuck men.
First of all, Alex, don't even say that, all right? Because there's no such thing as a human man in any of those movies. These are, I don't know who these people are, but they are definitely not mortal men. Because if they were, they wouldn't do half the shit they do in this movie.
Wait, should we save it and then maybe do a Divorce in the Black review next week?
I'd be willing to do that. There's a weird amount to talk about with this film, and it's not. And the funny thing is,
it's not even awful. It's just
it's not. It actually was an enjoyable film because I usually don't like Tyler Perry movies because they get honestly a little preachy, which is fair. That's the type of movies he has, But this one was like good, and the ending was like fuck yeah.
like
all right. Wait, no spoilers because I'm gonna watch it.
Don't spoil anything. I'm just saying. So you can't even throw men under the bus based off this movie.
No.
These aren't normal
Fuck
men. These aren't normal dudes.
No, fuck all men except you two. You two are always very kind and very respectful. So you guys are fine.
I appreciate that. So Divorce in the Black review maybe possibly incoming. The other thing that I was just going to mention briefly is Love Island update. So
is friend zone dude still in the friend zone?
That's Alex's cue to leave. Wait, which one?
The one where he was defending that guy who shouldn't have been defended since he invited two girls and made two breakfasts. That one?
Oh, friend zone dude. So was it Kendall? Was I talking about Kendall?
I think so. I don't know their names.
He invited another girl, and then he made them both breakfast, and the one girl threw the breakfast at his face.
Oh no, that was Cordell. So yeah, Serena and Cordell are doing great. Seemingly, there's a lot of different drama within the cast. The reunion is August 19th, but breaking news last night, Friday night, as of the time we're recording this, two of the cast members, Kenny and Kendall, they were both in the top 4, so they're both getting a lot of attention right now. Kendall is trash, but he's been like getting in the good graces of the fans now because apparently he's like he's hanging out with the cast. One of his criticisms that people had was that he would always dog the black women, and he's black himself. So him and Kenny went to a club last night. They hosted this they were hosting this event at this club, and this morning or last night, there were these two black girls who posted a video walking out of the club saying, Kendall kicked us out the section, the VIP section. There was nothing but white people there. He kicked us out of the VIP section. So now TikTok and Instagram is going crazy again because they're like, some people are like, oh, I was starting to like him again, blah, blah, blah. But now he played in my face. Other people like myself are like, yeah, I knew he wasn't ish at all. So yeah, that's how it's been going. And I can't wait for the reunion.
I don't trust when people do that.
It's like self-hating black man. That's what that's called.
So
it's given that,
but but I don't always trust when people go on social media and be like, "Oh man, we got kicked out from the club." It's like, you also got kicked out. Why am I trusting you about what you're saying? Because clearly you came from outside club.
They said they got kicked out of the section. They said they didn't get kicked out of the club. They got kicked out of the section.
Okay. I always take all of those with a grain of salt. Like, I'm probably sure they're probably right, and they're, they got kicked out for a reason. But also at the same time, it's like, I'm looking at you suspiciously because you got kicked out. You admit you got kicked out. So you're probably a little salty, no?
Fair.
Maybe. But we don't like Kendall.
Okay, then fuck him.
Yeah.
See? Fuck men.
And that's been about it.
Also, I have one last thing too. Is another thing I saw that I forgot to mention. I was looking on IMDb. Batman: The Caped Crusader just came out. The newest animated show from Bruce Timm. For those who know that name, he is one part of the legendary creation of the Batman animated series back in the 90s. And they were trying to make another animated series. This one, it's a new one, not like a continuation of the old animated series, but a new animated series of Batman, but this time being of like a younger Batman, where like a lot of the villains are forming. A lot of the villains haven't been established yet. Much like the original, I think in the original series too, is also like Batman, and he's discovering a lot of these villains. But this time around, the interesting thing is, like, in that show, a lot of the villains were pretty much who they were in the comics. This time around, they're changing some stuff up. Like, almost every villain is completely different than how they are. Like, their powers in some cases are the same, but a lot of their origins are different. Harley Quinn especially, because there's no Joker. Like, it's Harley Quinn's Harley Quinn in a different way, other than, like, her being tied to the Joker. So... And that's just one example, but there's multiple. One of the ones that's getting a little bit of controversy because she was in the trailer was Gender Bent Penguin, but she's actually great, and like played by Minnie Driver in the show, who does the voice of the Penguin, and she's great. She's still Oswald Cobblepot, which I never thought of Oswald as a unisex name, but it kind of is. Like I don't think it's very gender specific, the name Oswald. But it's I love the show. It's on Amazon Prime, not HBO Max, which is news because Warner Brothers still owns like the Batman license, but for some reason they passed this show off, and Amazon is the one who bought it. But all the episodes are out. It's a great show. I had a great time watching it. It's an easy binge because each episode's like 25 minutes, and it really feels like the Batman animated series from the 90s again, but more fresh, because I'm curious to see how they're going to do all these Batman villains. And they've already been renewed for season 2. It's only 10 episodes for season 1, so it's not long, but it's like, I really enjoyed this series actually. Cause I honestly, like, it's been talked about for like, I want to say a few years now. And they kept saying it was coming out, and small pictures here and there, but we didn't really know when it was happening, and especially when it wasn't going to HBO Max. We were like, where's it going? So to have it finally be out and live up to the hype is great. And also, I have to say, honestly, Hamish Linklater, man, as the new Batman voice, phenomenal. I love him in everything he's done, but Black Mass especially as the preacher. He kills it in that role, and so him as the voice of Batman, I wasn't sure how it was going to sound until I heard it. He's incredible, both as Batman and Bruce Wayne, both. And all the voice cast is great, but he in particular is like, I can see him being like, if he keeps this up, being like in that same vein as people like Kevin Conroy and Bruce Green. I think it's Bruce Greenwood, as like some of the best Batman voices in animated, in the animation space. So I dig it. I enjoy it. If you haven't checked out Batman Cape Crusader and you're a Batman fan, please do. You'll have a good time, and just accept it. You know what I mean? Like there's some Batman fans who have been like, ugh, this isn't like the comics. It's not going to be like the comics, all right? We have plenty of that. You want to watch that? Watch the Batman animated series from the 90s on HBO Max, or watch a Batman movie, or read a comic book. This is its own thing, its own universe, its own kind of retelling of the Batman story with new Batman, with this, same name of Batman villains, but different telling of how they've become who they become. So just accept it as its own thing, and I think you'll have a great time and enjoy it, and appreciate it for what it is, you know.
Or if you're a Superman fan, you can hop over to the Max and watch the new season of The Adventures of Superman with Jack Quaid. That's the only version of Superman that I love. I love Jack Quaid.
You don't like Richard Donner Superman?
I don't remember. Which one is he?
That's the original Superman movies. He's the director of those original Superman movies.
Oh, director. I'm talking about the actor Superman.
Well, Christopher Reeves plays Superman.
Christopher Reeves on his own level. Not going to disrespect that man's name.
But Adventures of Superman is also very good as well.
Yeah, it's very good. And they just sent out their second season. So I'm excited. I'm going to watch that actually tonight probably.
Yeah, I hear all the Supergirl stuff in it is amazing.
Oh, cool. I didn't know Supergirl was going to be in there. Thank you for spoiling that for me.
Sorry. I thought you knew that.
I knew nothing.
Because that's on the literally on the front page on HBO Max. That's why I thought that. I'm sorry.
I'm still hurt, but okay. I guess I can give
you. Something we don't have to worry about spoilers with, because we all watched the movie, is the movie Circle, the Netflix movie from 2015. If you didn't know, the reason we are reviewing this movie is because someone did win the last round of trivia. And
extreme trivia.
Wait, who won again? Wait, was it?
It was Alex.
Oh, that's right.
Obviously,
that's right. It was me. It was me.
I was just gonna take that win away from you. Just be like, it was actually Alex, and we've decided now that we're gonna pick a new movie.
Let's be honest.
Due to unsportsmanlike conduct,
far more. I would be far more cocky.
But yes, this movie is on Netflix. It's about a group of people held captive and faced with their imminent executions. 50 strangers are forced to choose the one person among them who deserves to live. It stars a whole bunch of people that you do not know, so I'm not going to read all their names.
That's fair.
But
that's true. Like, none of these people, I think, are famous in any way. The most famous person on this list out of people I know is David Reavers.
Corbin Blue's dad.
Yeah.
That guy was Corbin Blue's dad? For real?
Yep. Mm-hmm. There's some multiple people who I recognize from different things, but I couldn't tell you what, and I couldn't tell you where or when I saw them.
You know what I learned? Oh, what's the Glenn Powell? Apparently, he sneaks his parents into every one of his movies. They're always extras in the background.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, that's so sweet.
I thought you were gonna say he was in Spy Kids because I just learned that this
Glenn
week.
Powell was
I
in
think I
Spy
knew
Kids?
it, but he was in Spy Kids 3.
Oh,
He
not even the
played. He
good
played
Spy
the
Kids.
Spy Kids 3 is legendary.
I've never
For
seen
being
Spy Kids
bad,
3.
yeah. It's very
No!
I
legendary
never
for
saw
that.
Spy Kids 3.
George Clooney is in Spy Kids 3.
And so is terrible CG everywhere.
Oh, you know what I recently... Okay, another thing that I just
Elijah
watched. Or I have been watching because we saw Wolverine versus Deadpool in or Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters. Me and Jerome and your cousin, which hopefully he had a safe trip back to Georgia or New
He
York.
did, yeah.
Or South
Well,
Carolina.
he's back in Charleston, yeah.
Charleston. I'm so sorry. I keep I'm trying to remember. Anyway, we saw that movie, and then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to watch some of the old X-Men movie because I thought about this the entire movie after I saw spoilers ahead for the new movie. Toad, he is in that movie, and I told Jerome about how when the first X-Men came out, Toad was in it, and I had an argument with a friend of mine because she was obsessed with Toad from the X-Men, and she was when he died in the first film. She was like, "Oh, they're bringing him back for the second," and I told her no. And we got into a whole ass argument about it. And I'm like, look, you need to accept he's never coming back. 20 years later, there he was, back in the Marvel Universe. It took 20 years for me to be proven wrong.
And not even the same actor.
It's not the same actor. But she said Toad's going to come back. And I'm like, no, he's never coming back. And there he was. And I was like, God damn, 20 years just to prove me wrong. I almost want to find her and message her and be like, you were right. He was coming back. But anyway, I watched X-Men, I think it was with Wolverine at Future Past.
Days of Future Past, yeah.
Days of Future Past. When he brings out his claws, it's so CGI and he's doing like this. And it's just really bad.
You're thinking of X-Men Origins Wolverine.
No. Yes, both. I watched both. Point is, there's a scene where he's playing with his claws.
Because I was gonna say the CG in Days of Future Past looks amazing. In X-Men Origins Wolverine is where it's like, and it's like clearly they were like, play with your claws, and I'm like, but which is really weird because it's not like they don't have them physically for him to hold. They've had them since the first movie. I don't know why in that particular scene they didn't, I guess, that day. So he had to pretend that the claws were there and they had to CG them in.
Bad. That was bad CGI. But there was no CGI in Circle.
There probably was a little bit, right?
A little bit of CG.
Oh, okay. I guess then when they were glowing.
Yes.
Jonathan, why did you pick this movie?
Well, also real quick before we get into the audience, for those who have not been a part of our retro reviews before, which this is, we're just gonna dive on into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go pause this, go watch Circle, come back. It's on Netflix, so if you have a Netflix account, it's easy enough to find. And then you can be a part of the conversation. If you don't care about spoilers, or maybe you've seen it a long time ago, but you just need a refresher, we'll give you that refresher. Stick around and enjoy the conversation. Okay, now go, Jonathan.
So when I was thinking of, okay, what movie do I want to watch? I was like, why don't I choose a movie that represents part of me, in the sense that I watched this movie soon after it came out. I remember watching it either in 2015 or 2016. And I had heard about it, not just through the Netflix streets, but through the Big Brother, Social Strategy, Survivor, reality TV people streets. People who I see online talk about these social strategy games like Survivor, like Big Brother. They were talking about this movie, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. This is not like a TV show that these people are talking about. It's not like a new TV show that these people are talking about. This is a scripted film that people are talking about. And so I checked it out, and I'm like, okay, I understand why people are talking about this. Basically, for anyone who hasn't seen this movie, these people suddenly appear in this circle alien spacecraft ship. And they realize that they essentially have to eliminate each other one by one until one person is left and gets to leave. And when they eliminate each other, that means they kill each other. And they have to vote, and conflict arises. And ultimately, that is the crux of what Survivor, Big Brother, these shows that eliminate people one by one are. And I think that's what drove not only the community to this movie, like the reality TV community, or the reality competition TV, social strategy TV community to this movie, but myself to this movie as well. I love seeing people fight and compete, dropping one by one, eliminating each other, being cutthroat, forming alliances, using manipulative tactics to get each other out. And I can imagine that the people who created this movie are fans of that as well. And it's it's a cool thriller as well. So that's what drew me to this movie.
I thought you picked it for a different reason, because according to Wikipedia, anyway, this movie premiered at SIF on May 28, 2015.
I did not know that.
First premiere date, and then it was released on video on demand on October 16th.
I was a little confused because when you were like, it's like a reflection, and I was like, how is this? And then you explained it. I was like, you know what?
Jonathan spends a lot of time thinking about ways to kill an entire room of people if he was forced to.
You know what? No, it's the survival. You think about the survival, how to play the game, which unfortunately that's what this movie was.
Right. It's essentially a game. So that's.
I don't think it's a game, because it's like a game is like you can it's
a game to the death.
It definitely is like manipulation involved in like
I call
strategy.
It a game because it has a clear winner, the person to survive.
I guess that's true. For me, I'm just like, this is more like a psychological experiment. Because that's what it boils down to the point where like it reminds me a lot of actually, one of the things, according to Wikipedia, also says this movie was inspired by the 1957 drama 12 Angry Men, and was shot in 2014, which makes a whole lot of sense because that movie is very much the same way. It's also a bottle film in which it's 12 guys inside a room arguing the logistics and legitimacy of a court case. And in this case, it's the same thing, arguing the legitimacy of a person's value to live based off of if they're pregnant, if they're a child, if they're black, or if they're white, their how much they give to society, their financial status, their gender in some cases, like all the things. They tackle all of them, all of the isms, all of the preconceived notions that most Americans have, all of it in one fell swoop. And
I think I see the way I see it is just definitely more just a game, because if it was really experiment, they wouldn't. The way they killed him seemed more. It gave too much control to the players to be an experiment, and they would have switched up the rules a lot more. But it's very simple. You vote. The one person you vote on, whoever gets the most vote, dies first, and it dwindles down to the last one.
Well, that's why I say it's an experiment, because that's the experiment. The experiment is to see if you put 50 people in a room, each of them different.
Technically, people. 51.
Like the. Well, like these.
Well, yeah, technically like 51.
That's true. Well, like these like Big Brother and Survivor, they call themselves social experiments. So it can be an experiment and a game at the same time.
Yes, that's true.
That is very true, because with like Big Brother, Survivor, and all that, we're watching people. Like, especially like with Survivor, and somebody was talking about Naked and Afraid, we're watching people go down to like the bare skill levels where you really have to learn how to make a fire with your hands. The instincts that we're supposed to have when danger's around, and the instincts we're supposed to have of whether or not supposed to trust somebody boils down to that. And then if you do trust your instincts, and if your instincts are right, and if your skills are right, you strategize enough, you win the game, or you win the experiment. So I could definitely see it definitely being both. But so yeah.
And especially like for me, what made the connection, the beginning was like, well, we'll get into it, but once you got to the end and people were like forming alliances and you wanted to get the majority, like that those buzzwords you hear all the time in some of these like some of these reality social strategy games. You want to have the majority, even if it's just one vote, so that you can have a voting block to vote the person you want out. But I guess let's kind of go through it. Like,
well, the first part annoyed me a little bit, and I understand.
Same.
People,
what?
Yeah, people feel panic,
ahead.
and I get that. Sorry, people feel panic, and I understand that. If I was in that situation, I'd obviously panic too. But the constant, this like nobody was listening to anybody say anything, was just driving me crazy. And after like the 5th death, y'all think you would just, get a little more concentrate, like focus a little better. Instead, 4th death, people are still screaming and they're like, knock it off. Y'all need to figure out what the hell's going on.
I can understand it because it's not like they have long. Because like the thing we didn't include, we were talking about the description of the movie.
They had 90 seconds between each death.
Yeah, they only had 2 minutes between each person. That's not a lot of time when like you don't know where you are, you don't know what's going on, you don't know who any of these people are.
Which
you don't
I would
even
figure
know, like, how this works.
Your survival instincts would trigger or be triggered faster, or your instincts to like figure out what's going on instead of just keep panicking. But I guess
not necessarily. Depends on the person. Like, cause right. Some people have that fight or flight response. Some people freeze. Some people just like they never get it together. And then on top of that, we're dealing with also in this room some people who don't even speak the language that everybody else speaks. So it's like, or if they speak at all. So, it's like, it's a little difficult. And also, if like, I'm sorry to jump all the way ahead to the ending here, but also there's an unknown party who is also technically participating. So maybe that also was throwing some shit off.
Lord, that's true. That was a stupid. It was smart and stupid all at the same time. I found that twist. But which character did you guys hate the most?
So at the beginning, Alex, and you said you were a little bit annoyed at the beginning. I was a little bit annoyed at the beginning because I didn't remember how do I put this? The acting from some of the people who got killed off early was very much so, this is my first acting gig. And
you're going to remember my death.
Right. There, even some of the people that didn't have lines, like it was
or
it
had
was
like 1 to 2 lines and that was it.
Yeah,
it was a little bit rough. Once we got towards the end, I think that's where they decided to keep the better actors.
Well, it says, but on Wikipedia it says casting for some roles was broad and others were specific. The intention was always to have a wide cross section, and then apparently like the directors they tried to be as prepared as possible, but they had problems with the actors because they all had to be available for every shoot. And apparently, according to one of the actors, they said that the psychological extremes experienced by the cast made it difficult to wind down after shooting. So that may have been like, I can imagine this was a hard acting challenge for those that were there that may have been inexperienced, because they intentionally picked unknown actors. It's not like that they accidentally did that, or these were just the people they could afford. Like, they intentionally were like, no, we want to get people who aren't too famous, and they take over like.
Yeah,
which makes sense because. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're probably gonna say the same thing, but if you pick Brad Pitt to be in this movie, Brad Pitt's gonna live till the end.
Right, he's gonna live.
Yeah, they're not wasting that money. Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
because the people who make it to the end is like they don't even become characters until like 50% through the film. Up until that point, they don't talk.
Right,
they're not even really involved in the plot at all.
Which I appreciate, because you don't know who's gonna live and who's gonna die.
Except the pregnant lady. I mean, that's like a guarantee.
And the
like,
kid, yeah.
Yeah, and the kid.
Well,
I was like, they're pretty much, they have to make it. Not because they're a kid and a pregnant woman, but also because I feel like that's the most interesting plot detail, is having those two in the room.
And which
the pregnant lady always surviving, but I assumed they were going to kill off the kid pretty earlier than I thought than they actually did.
Well, Alex,
They're all
that kind of
cold
brings
there.
me to the that kind of brings me to when you asked who annoyed you the most, and not that she annoyed me the most, but every time the dang spotlight was on her,
Listen, she was giving one direction, okay? It's cry when the light comes on.
Yeah, it was all. I mean, that's probably her mom told her you need to emote. You need to feel it.
Right.
She emoted.
See,
I
for me,
didn't-
it was
I hated the guy, not the racist one, ironically, but the older man, the balding man.
the house, the guy who was like a realtor or whatever or something like that. Or
Was
I don't
that
remember
when he
who his
wore a
job
brown
was.
sweater? He was next to the racist guy, the racist businessman, but he was the other guy who was like wearing
He's
glasses.
the guy with the
like,
glasses.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
him.
which I do love.
So
that song.
annoying.
Like he annoyed me only because I
Oh
was
yes,
like,
yes.
listen,
I know who you're talking about. That he annoyed me the most too.
like for me, I was like he only annoyed me because I'm like, are you trying? Like, listen, I don't like anybody in this room. So honestly, I could give a shit if all of you died. But what I will not do is settle for shit strategy. Are you trying to get yourself killed? What's wrong with you?
Like he saw anytime someone was like antagonizing the group, they died. So why would you antagonize the group after you saw all those examples? It did not make sense. He was trying to get himself killed.
Although I
Exactly.
love
and
that.
the racist guy, the rich racist guy, after they're like, "You're being racist," he's like, "I'm not," and then he quietly shut the fuck up. He knew when to shut up.
Yeah, it's like he died, and then also the dude who like made that girl cry, like saying like,
Which
"Yeah,
one?
you did porn or whatever," and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm like and that's like part of my issue with the movie is some of these scenes are literally just like, oh, now we're just gonna have this scene happen, and it's like, okay, but there's no flow to it. It feels like all of a sudden because this dude out of nowhere, he just is like, I'm gonna throw a temper tantrum and take it all out on just this one person, not everybody else, not the whole room, just this one lady for no reason at all.
I think at this point we was just trying to be like, "Oh, porn star, everybody will be fine murdering her," but yeah, it came out more of a tantrum. Like she should
Yeah.
die. It's like, no, we're gonna go ahead and kill you.
But
the
that
thing,
dude in particular, like
yeah,
the
he
dude
sucked.
with glasses, when the people, and I'm glad somebody said it. I think it was the lesbian woman who said like, my guy, if you're trying to get us to not vote for you, you are going about it the wrong way. And I was like, thank you. Somebody had to say it. Like, do you want to live? Because this ain't how you do it.
Another big annoyance I had was the married couple.
Oh yeah, the married
Although
couple.
I thought that shit was sly. When
It is
when
clever.
like-
It was clever.
It was clever when that
So
twist
there
came.
there's a man and a woman on the thing, and the man quickly turns to her and goes like, "This is my wife. You know, we're married. We're together. We have a daughter named Chloe or Zoe or whatever." And she goes along with it. And then they realize they're not married because they were like, "What's his name?" And she's like, "What? He literally said it a second ago."
He
His
said
name
it
was
earlier
Oscar or
in the
something.
movie.
The fact that she, like, the second anyone says, what's your spouse's name? And it takes you all of any 0.1 milliseconds to
Right.
not answer
No.
immediately. Okay, so y'all ain't married. Like, because there's no way.
I was nervous.
you
I
would
was
forget
nervous.
his
Everybody
name.
was. I didn't remember his name. I was nervous. Everybody just was yelling at me.
They were staring at me.
That's like the most ready information you would absolutely have. It's their name. But it was a good reveal, though. That was a good strategy. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, but you know what, though?
They
It
kept
got
them
him
on
that far. That's a good
Right.
strategy.
But
Did you
wouldn't
guys
you?
have your favorite
wouldn't you-
character at all?
But wouldn't you? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Wouldn't we what?
I was just gonna say, wouldn't that could backfire though, right? Because if you know that everybody else is alone here, but you guys are married, then wouldn't they want to split you up? Because it's like, oh, not both of y'all are gonna win anyway. So, and you guys have a better shot at getting to the end than the rest of us because you have someone with you.
I don't
But they
know. 'cause I
made
feel
they
like
made a good
you
point,
always
though,
still
during
have
that
to fight
film.
each other, though.
Yeah, they made a good point at the film. They're like, well, dude, why don't you volunteer to die? Because wouldn't you want your wife to make it? And that's how they got caught. It was a good point where it's like, all right, we let the married couple get to the end, but still one of them is going to die, and we have less of a likely chance, so might as well get rid of one of the spouses.
Yep, it's just like Squid Game. Same thing happened in Squid Game where that married couple was in Squid Game, and it's like, well, this is what you get. You should have brought your spouse here.
Or in Squid Game the Challenge when there was that mother and son.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Although they cheated. Well, they didn't cheat. Netflix cheated to keep them on the show.
Oh, that's true. I remember hearing about that.
I had a conversation with my coworkers really quick if we ever got into like strategy games and stuff like that. I told them, I'm like, do not trust me. I'm like, I will betray. If there's money on the line, I will betray you all so quickly. Do not hesitate. I will not hesitate. They're like, we'll just blow you off. I'm like, I'm very manipulative sometimes. I'm like, I will make you alliance with me and then I will betray you. Just know that. They found it funny, and I'm glad. They'll never see it coming now.
I'm glad that these writers were smart enough to know that, like, there's like, if you've got a room full of black people, though, well, not full, just like minor about people, there's always gonna be one who's like, I'm just saying, why the black people gotta be the last ones in the place? What's up with that?
I was just gonna mention that because it was right after they killed. It was right after they killed the Muslim woman or the woman with the hijab.
Right.
And he was like, all right, I got an idea. Why don't we just kill all the black people? I laughed out loud when he said that. Because
my thing is this. I'm like, you act like black people were the only ones dying. We killed like a shit ton of old people like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
And then there was like 3 characters that died before then, and the first 2 characters actually to die were white. So
we're white.
Good on the circle.
Like, what is your? But that's what I mean by like, it's just there. Like, it's a very much a thing of like, okay, what's the next social scenario we can come up with for this script? And that's how they wrote this script. Every single, because they're not connected. They just happen. Like the conversations just spark out of nowhere. The lesbian couple, same thing. That woman didn't say shit for majority of the movie, and all of a sudden,
he's like, "What are you like?" Gay?
They hit all the like the hot button like social topics.
They really did, yeah.
Like LGBT, racism,
marriage.
What else? Marriage, disability.
Like ageism.
They
got ageism out the way immediately. And just like,
yeah,
look, let's just kill all the old people right now. Wait, hold on, wait a minute, young blood. Hold on, wait a minute now. We don't need to do that.
I would have let that thing just randomly go off.
Immigration.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, immigration, like just all of them. And it's like, although like I do love that black dude did look at the Corbin Blue's dad, the other black dude in the room, just be like, come on, man, you on my side? And he's just like, hey, get out of my face with that brother shit, bro. Like, we ain't together.
At that point,
okay?
I think there was like only
this ain't
13
happening.
of them left. There was like only 13 of them left. He's like, no, I'm not starting that shit. You just saw how everybody who antagonized the group died. Why are you trying to antagonize the group? He did make it pretty far after that. He did.
Although,
because then nobody wanted to die a racist.
Which is weird because I'm like, let me get this straight. Y'all don't want to be racist, but you'll gladly live with the fact, if any of y'all survive, you'll gladly live with the fact that you murdered a child. Because nobody, like all of them were just like, we're going to kill this kid. We've got to kill the child. I'm like, y'all are ready to do that way faster than you were ready to kill all these black people, which on one hand, I appreciate that from the black delegation. We appreciate that you don't see us all like, the people in this room didn't see us as that expendable, but still.
Yeah.
Who did you think when you were watching it? Who did you think was going to be the last one standing? Because I even
unfortunately I'd seen the movie, but like the way I saw this movie is that I saw the ending first. Because I caught it on TV.
Oh.
And watched like on I think on like the Sci-Fi channel and saw the movie saw the ending first, and I was like, "What is this movie?" And then rewound it back because I we had video on demand and watched the rest of it. So I knew who was going to survive before the movie ended.
So in rewatching it, I knew that it was one of the white dudes who survived, and then he went to like back to Earth or whatever. But I couldn't remember who it was. For a second, I thought it was going to be the annoying guy who was interrogating the porn star lady. And I'm like, dang, this is the guy that survives? Dang. But then I remember that it was the guy in the younger guy in like the black sweater. But I feel
Was
like
he the guy who got the old people to die first, or was he?
no, that's
that guy died
so
pretty much immediately.
yeah, but
well,
but
a little after anyway.
But you think for a second, you think that he's gonna be like the leader for the rest of the movie, and then he dies, which I think is a good like. It's a good way to
It shows that nobody's safe.
Well, it's much like a
Right.
reality show. Like I remember watching like shows like my favorite reality shows, Ink Master, and there's multiple seasons where there'll be players who you follow for like 8 episodes, and you're like, okay, these are like the main crew though, and then there's like there'll be this one person who's really talented. And they're really good, and they don't say much. The cameras never focus on them. We never hear from them really, except for like the small confessionals, and even then they don't say anything of like substantial, like anything substantial. They just say like yeah, tattooing is hard, man, or they say some like joke or something. And then somehow at some point the people who were the main people get eliminated, and this one person who you're like, you weren't important for like 10 episodes, and now all of a sudden you're like the main character.
I like the
I love
ones
when
where
that happens.
they're always the confidant, and they're like, yeah, man, you need to take risk and stuff. And it's just in the end, it's like I've been playing it the whole time, and it's like, oh, I knew it. Nobody gets along with every other contestant.
Yeah.
But the thing about this movie too is the fact that like I think what makes it so interesting is that we don't know much about like the reasoning for why any of this happens. We don't know what the aliens want, if there even are aliens. They just assume it's aliens. I'm like, what if this is human technology?
It was a saucer and
Right.
floating above Earth.
We don't know that maybe if it's just like some secret
Humans
government
aren't
shit.
that smart enough.
You think that? We don't know this world. We don't know who's running this place around here. Now, I will say that is my one gripe with the ending. I don't think we should have seen he got back to Earth. I think the movie should have cut away with we see his hand come up, and then we have the sound effect, and we don't know who died. I think that would have been a better ending. Personally, because
kind
we
of
didn't gain
understand why
anything
they
from
did that. Well, we kind of did. It showed how many pregnant people, because the whole thought of the movie, because the contestants constantly say it. Oh, it's going to come down to the pregnant woman, and it's going to come down to the kid. Those two need to
they
survive.
say they're like, all right, the pregnant woman and the little girl, they're like standing next to each
yeah.
other. They're like, okay, they're off limits. They come to a consensus.
Yeah, that they're like, we'll try to figure out, although they never really try to figure out what's happening. They're just trying to figure out how not to die. Even though they're all like, it's going to come down to the little girl and the pregnant woman. But also, we need to figure out how to survive. But nobody comes up with any reasonable explanation. They all just start yelling and blaming each other, which is a good human experiment. Shows that, like, in time of crisis, they'll quickly blame each other instead of figuring out what's going on. But it kind of showed when he walked up to that group of people, there were so many more pregnant women and younger people that were there, and he was kind of the odd man out.
That.
Well, we don't even. Or do you mean just like among the? Oh, you mean among the group of people he walked?
Yeah,
That
that are
group
all
on
staring
Earth.
at on Earth. They're all staring up at the spaceships, and it kind of gives this idea that they came from there too, because there's just so many, and this shows that like, oh, you're a shit person. Everybody else let their pregnant women and their kids go, and then you killed them all.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Wow. Yeah, that's true.
That is true. I just feel like, I mean, I'm a fan of like leaving stuff kind of ambiguous when it comes to stuff like this, where it's like I like the mystery. I like, because I feel like sometimes too many answers can sometimes make something seem, what's the word?
Well, we still didn't get any answers to what the hell
Maybe
was going on.
in that sense, maybe the point of it is like, ooh, they're trying to wipe out the human. They're trying to like, or maybe it's the government. Maybe the government is trying to like take care of overpopulation, so they they are sucking all of these groups of people into this experiment, and then one person comes out, and those are like the
easier ways to do that. Like, just tell the world that you're selling free Popeyes chicken sandwiches en masse, and I feel like you'll easily eradicate like 50% of the human population.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, heart disease is already taking out a lot of us. Or that freaking McDonald's sauce, the sauce that from Rick and Morty that had everybody going
the
crazy.
Szechuan sauce.
They freaking attacked each other. Talk about social experiments. They're like, we didn't know. Szechuan sauce, yeah. Yeah, people were attacking each other in the McDonald's, and it's like, are you serious? You are a grown-ass man. Go home.
Now, I will say, like, do you think that this is, because I think this is an interesting experiment, though, to probably do in, like, a psychology class or something, but do you think it'd be safe? Because I feel like...
To kill people and...
No, not kill people. I'm saying like in a like a controlled environment. No, you just step off the platform or something like that. You know, something simple. But still, the idea that you have to eliminate a person based off of like you're just in a room. There's no rhyme or reason. In fact, there's no instructions at all of why or how to eliminate people. That's up to y'all. But I'm going to put 50 students in a circle like in this scenario. All of you will get the chance to vote for who gets eliminated. Every 2 minutes, if you don't vote, we'll pick someone at random.
Oh, no, it would definitely cause...
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, you're good.
Oh, I was just going to say, it would definitely cause conflict, which is what we would want to see. And that's like the social aspect of it. It would cause people to, you know, create alliances, break into groups, you know, vote off people for seemingly arbitrary reasons. But
I was going to say, it actually kind of reminds me of dodgeball in school. Because that's what kids do. They strategize. They take out the slowest runners. They take out, you know, the kids who aren't very athletic. And then they start going after those numbers. And then, you know, team captains will start, you know, zoning in and be like, we need to take out that kid because he's throwing the fastest balls. So, like, they, like, focus. It's very strategized game, and it goes that you take out your opponent until there's one left standing. And then it comes down to them where everybody targets that person. So I'm like, I kept thinking, I'm like, it feels like a dodgeball, but a more complex dodgeball. Because then it comes down to all the individual players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just feel like there's like this would be something that, like, although it's true, I feel like all your students would hate each other by the end of your psychological experiment.
Just like the Stanford prison experiment. Not just like that, because that was a little more extreme.
That was
too far. Yeah. But it's true. Yeah, something similar to that effect. Because like especially the like, but some characters it was like although it always made me laugh unintentionally when like they'd have like a large discussion about some type of ism. They'll be like, yo, y'all can't be racist, or we can't kill kids, whatever. And then some random person will just die who wasn't even a part of a conversation. And every time I'd be like, well, like, damn, what did they do?
But they're also like, well, anyway, let's get back to the topic.
Right, moving on.
But I like how some of them were like, oh, okay, I didn't die, because it happened right by them. Like, you have the little girl screaming every single time. But then you have
it would just make me laugh every time. I'd be like, okay, so they were an extra. They didn't have no lines anyway.
They had that one guy who survived almost to the end that didn't say anything throughout the whole movie. And they pointed out, they're like, he hasn't said anything. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't said it. And they're like trying to talk to him. And he's just like, they're like, all right, so I guess we kill him. And he just stands there. He's like, fuck y'all.
I wonder if he also couldn't speak any language. Like that was in the room. Or just mute.
Could have been mute, yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, that's what they should have had. They should have had someone who was like deaf or something. And it's like how...
No, because that would have been cruel. They can't hear none of this going on. All this interesting dialogue.
They had the guy who didn't speak English. So it's kind of like, it's similar in the sense
but
that
at least another person was in there who could speak his language, you know.
But that was like halfway through. That was like halfway through the movie.
They have like all these old people who are like, where am I? And then immediately like, you gonna die. That's what's happening.
You're not my grandson. All right, so we're just gonna
Oh, and then when they came up to that lady, she's like, "Oh, I have bone cancer, but it's in remission." So she's dying. So she's gonna die next. And it's like, no, it's in remission.
Like,
I'm
it's in remission,
fool.
fool.
Like, calm down. Like, got it. They just zoned in on her real quick.
That was kind of my issue with some of the people in here. It's like, this is life or death. Y'all know you can lie. You don't have to say, okay, I have cancer, because you know they're just gonna use that against you. You don't have to say what was some of the other stupid things people admitted to. I can't remember, but like people just were blabbing their mouths too much.
Yeah,
where people would give orders and other people would be like, would follow them. I'd be like, why are you doing what they just asked you to do? Nobody in here is in charge. You do not have to do anything anyone says.
That's what I thought about the whole voting thing. We need 13 people on our side. We need 13 people. For what? So that you 13 can survive and then you all have to kill each other. For what? I felt like Shorzy during this whole movie. Fuck you, Shorzy. For what?
It's just like there's one where a dude was like grilling this girl. I forget who it was. And he was just like, tell me, like he's asking her for some information. And I'm just like, no, I don't have to tell you that because I don't know. I don't know you like that, fam. We just met today in the worst of situations. And you out here yelling at me like you know me. All right. If it wasn't for the fact that I can't step off this platform, I would jump off this shit and whoop your ass.
I would find out whatever I had in my pockets and throw it at somebody. Be like, fuck you.
Oh, I remember one of the people, or two of the people I was mad at. The black man and the black woman who were having an affair, and it's like y'all did not have to admit to that. Y'all did not. Literally, you could have just pretended.
You all could have lied and said you were married.
Right, they didn't admit to the affair. They just said he just said I know her, and somebody else assumed he made an assumption, and they didn't correct him. Like,
so
well, he could have said, "Oh yeah, she's my coworker." He could have said, "Oh yes, I know her from."
He was stealing glances. She was stealing glances. Both of them were like afraid to look at each other in the eye. They were doing, no, that's an affair going on. They admitted with their eyes.
The fact of the matter is, he ain't ashamed. All right, because he knows that her husband ain't shit.
Fuck men.
What? And there ain't no fuck man on this. She's the one who's married. She's the one who's cheated.
Too.
He's single.
How do you know?
Wait, was he married?
Now who's making the assumptions?
Because she didn't say back to him when he said you shouldn't have married that asshole. She didn't say back to him you shouldn't have married that bitch.
He's still getting involved with a married woman. He knows what he's doing.
Maybe, but she even more so knows what she's doing. He could at least be like, well, I thought this would go ahead at some point. I mean, I'm single, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, whatever. She is making an active choice to go against her vows instead of just divorcing this man.
Fuck Ben. Fuck her too. But,
exactly. Look at you.
That helps? Does that make it better? Fuck her too. Little disclaimer at the bottom. She is shit as well.
In the words of Lizzo, men ain't shit. And that's right, bitches. Sometimes we ain't shit either.
What song is that?
It's not a song. She said that at her Tiny Desk concert.
Oh. Anyway.
They were my favorite characters though, because they went out with at least a little bit of dignity. All right, he got to see her one last time. He got one cool line out before he died, and they actually got to go out in their kind of on their own terms a little bit, where they were at a tie and they're like, you know what, man, screw it, we ain't gonna win anyway, so let's go out together. Wakanda forever, Black Panther for life.
Didn't they just both step off the platform? They didn't do their little.
No, they were in a tie. You
can't vote for each other.
I think they voted for each other and killed each other.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. The black dude who said, "Why don't we just call the black people?" I was like rooting for him. And then all of a sudden he turned evil, and I was like, "Okay, you can go now."
Jonathan is like, "We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you."
I always hate that when you get on somebody's side, and then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that." I was with you, man.
I liked even though I knew he was because I remember exactly who won. So the second I do start talking, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy who actually wins." But I would have loved if the soldier guy won. He was cool.
Yeah, he was cool. Or Or the woman, the translator woman, she was cool too.
Yeah.
She was cool. Or the older lady. The older lady, she had sass. Who had the cancer in remission. She had sass, especially when he's like, "Look, I'm just like that one younger dude who's killing all the old people." He's just like, "I'm just trying to make." Yeah, she was like, "Fuck you." And I was just like, "That's right, Grandma. You tell him. You tell
Well,
him,
she wasn't
Cecilia.
old.
You
That
tell
wasn't
him."
the thing. She looked older because of the cancer. So he's like, "She's dies next," and she's like, "I'm not old." He's like, "Then what's wrong with you? I have cancer." Well, then you should still die. It's like, no,
I was out here
remission.
like, "That's right, Meredith. You do like you take him out."
Meredith. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say also that one-armed guy was actually pretty cool too, even though
Yeah,
we
he was
really didn't
cool.
get much from him. Like we don't even know how he lost his arm, but I mean, it don't matter. But it's just the fact of I was just like, man, you're a good guy. You know what I mean? Like don't let no one tell you you're half a man. All right, you're all a man.
And then they started getting on the pregnant lady like, "Oh, do you know who the father is? Are you guys married?" Like, she's still pregnant. Like,
And again, like you said, I would have lied my ass off. Like, sure do. His name is Scott. He's got a 401k and
right.
he works at the
Oh,
Jiffy Lube.
yes. Okay, yes. That was another moment where I'm like, okay, you messed up.
Like,
Just
start
lie.
lying.
Just say, yes, I did. Yes. Just say, yes, we've been happily married for
His
5
name's
years.
Tito. He's part of the Jackson 5, and he's a great
Right.
man.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even with the lesbian woman, when she's like, "Oh, my wife's name," and you're like, "You just saw the whole racist rant. You think the sexuality is going to be different? You think they're going to be open to gay people all of a sudden?" They just went through the whole immigration thing where they tried to kill off the poor Mexican. But yes,
He
let
doesn't
me
even
let
know
me
what's
Because
going
they thought he was
on.
illegal.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
because in his case, he's just looking at all these people talking, and he has not a clue what's happening. He's just seeing people yell around him,
and then
that
die,
has to
and then
suck.
get dragged.
And then he would
But-
die.
So my ass would lie. All of a sudden, I'm a straight Christian woman. I don't know. Modesty is my biggest thing. I read the Bible 3 times a day. I could do that. I don't remember many
Exactly.
quotes.
Like,
I don't remember many quotes from Sunday school, but I'm sure in a moment of
Listen,
panic,
all
I
you
could draw
need to do
something
is
up.
in
hit
my
them with the
weekends-
name a Bible quote. Jesus wept in your face, because that is actually a verse. Jesus wept.
I'm sure that's all over.
on my weekends, I feed the homeless, and then my
I
weeknights.
volunteer with the animals.
Yep.
Look, I have a son.
Right.
I just grabbed him from sleeping. He's not happy. I'm sorry. But I understand. Yeah, I would fabricate a whole
The
lie.
pregnant lady, she should have said, "Oh, this is my daughter right here." All right. You know why? You know why they
that
were put
wouldn't have
next to
worked.
each other?
She is very clearly a Mexican girl. There's no way.
Maybe
She's
the
some type
dad
of
is
Latin.
Mexican.
It ain't no way.
I don't think
alright?
that
She
would
ain't got
count
no
any
white
favors.
features at
See,
all.
just again, what happened to that one guy. I don't think calling the little girl saying my husband's Mexican will win her any brownie points.
That's
from
true. They
anybody.
did try to kill the guy
like,
because
she don't look. She don't have no white skinned type of vibe or nothing. Like nah. She's
No, that
clearly
little girl-
has a Mexican mother and father, or at the very least Hispanic mother and father in some way, shape, or form. But that's okay. You could be like, this is my adopted child. I
There
don't
you
know
go,
why she's up
adoption.
here.
exactly.
Looks great. And
It's
then you
like,
have
matter of fact, I'm upset with her right now because I told her to stop running around in that damn grocery store, and now look at us. This is what happens.
I would immediately become pregnant and be like, yes, I am pregnant too. My chubbiness now comes in handy.
Oh,
I do that.
God.
I do that sometimes. Like if we're really crowded in a really crowded space and we're trying to make our way with me and my sister, I just lean back and stick out my stomach a little bit. You tuck your shirt a little bit under your boobs, gives this kind of pregnant look. People part ways for you. All right. Sometimes I need to haul it to my car. There's too many people in the way. Just gotta round out the belly a little bit. I can get anywhere.
That one dude who became the de facto leader of the kill the pregnant
the
lady
guy with the
squad.
long hair,
Yeah, I
the
was
blonde
like,
guy.
I was like, man, you be out. He does have the gift of gab though, because he sure was convincing a lot of people to be on his side. And I was
Yeah.
like, I respect it.
Although-
to be quite honest,
Although it was kind of tough to figure out who exactly was on his side. Like we knew who was on the side of keep them, but it was like, okay, you keep saying you have all these people, but who are they? Like,
No, that's another, and that's an editing issue. Like we can't really tell who he's talking to because there's when he would say that, it'd be a wide shot of everybody.
Right.
So it's like, okay, I can't tell who you're pointing at, who you're talking to, who you're saying is on your side because the room's not split that way. Everyone's still in their original position.
But I think that was actually a good choice to make because when it came to the voting, you couldn't see who people were actually voting for. You know? So they could say, yeah, I'm on your side, and then vote completely different, which that felt like a lot of times that was happening. So I think it was good, the editorial work, to do that too, because you're never certain. He's just trying to talk to the room, but they all seem scared to even turn around to face a different direction and put their back to the black orb in the middle. So I think it was actually pretty good because you never know for a fact if they really are on the guy's side or who he's talking to, because some of them don't verbalize it either. He'll get the person who he wants dead, and he's like, yes, everybody's on my side. And then a second later, it's the wrong person. He's like, no, we only need 13. Okay, can you show me that for a fact that everybody's on your side, though? That's the whole problem. A lot of people are going to be like, yeah, I want to survive, but also, can you kill a pregnant lady and a kid? Like, moral standing?
That's how, like, see, that's the other thing that's ticking me off is some of these arguments also didn't make sense. Because I'm like, nobody's hitting y'all with the hard questions. Because their whole thing is, like, well, we need to survive. And if we kill this kid and pregnant lady, like, obviously, they're going to survive longest or whatever. I'm like, here's the question that nobody's willing to ask that I think no one is considering. Ask it, you're thinking about the here and now. Let's say, hypothetically, any of y'all do survive. The question you have to ask yourself is, can you live with knowing that you killed a child to survive? Can you live with knowing that you intentionally killed a pregnant woman to survive?
That kid was
like,
you know what I mean?
Like,
she wouldn't survive in a quiet place.
That's another
We're
point.
not in a quiet place though. This is a different scenario.
I'm just saying, if I had to take her to a different movie,
they could have brought that up too. It's like, okay, if we let the kid win and she goes out into the middle of nowhere, like, is she gonna just die anyways? Like, no one brought that up.
That is also
somebody brought that up with the movie Gravity. I haven't seen it, but with Sandra Bullock, how they're like, yeah, she survived, she landed back on Earth, but they're like, she's in the middle of the jungle of the Amazon. Right. It looks like
with no
water
or
with
water.
No food, no shoes, like heavy space equipment, debris all around her. It drops to like negative degrees sometimes in the Amazon because of all the covering from the trees and things. So it's like, she's still dead.
Well, like the only hypothetical it could be that maybe that pod has like
windows.
What you call it? Like, no, like a tracker in it that when it breaks back into orbit, they'll be like, hey, one of our spacecrafts landed back in orbit. But that's a far reach to like wonder if that's capability or not. Like, unless I'm not an astronaut, so I don't know if that exists. No, yeah, or not,
I get that. But also, she had like, from what I recall from somebody, the scene I saw was that she's not wearing any like boots or anything. Poisonous things are in the Amazon. Are everywhere. That little kid gets bitten by a snake in a field. She dead.
Like, although it'd be like, it would have been insult to injury if in the middle of this, and this is a lesser writer probably would have had this happen. If in the middle of this, she gave birth.
I feel like she would end up stepping off the platform for that.
Right.
At that point, she'd be like, well, it's as good as an epidural as I'm going to get. Just take her out.
Or if everybody's just looking at her giving birth because they can't step off their platform.
Right. It's just like, I can't look away. Just turn around. Just turn around. Giving her instructions from far away. Like, just breathe. Are you breathing? I come over and help, but I can't.
I also don't want to. Birth is magical and a beautiful, thing, and women are very strong to go through it. But also, I find it so disgusting. There's so many fluids everywhere, and too many pregnant women have told me their stories, and absolutely, it's so gross.
Funny enough, though, the one topic they didn't tackle in this was, or not fully, was pro-choice versus pro-life. And this is 2015. That was an issue back then, because so many of them are ready to kill the child, and a few of them want to save her, but not because they're like, we're protecting the baby, but just because it's the right thing to do. And so it's like,
I mean, the whole pro-choice thing comes down to like the woman getting knocked up. That's why if she wants to keep it, then it's all right. Then it's your kid. I'm going to help you protect that kid because you want the kid. But also, that's when the whole scrutiny of like, oh, do you know the father? This and that. That's where the scrutiny of the pro-choice and a lot of the pro-choice and pro-abortion things come in because they're scrutinizing the other aspect of the pregnant woman's life. That has nothing to do with her being pregnant.
Mm.
Maybe she got, she's a surrogate for somebody and it's not even her kid. She's getting paid for it. But then again, I would have lied. Jonathan brings up a very good point that I didn't think about most of the movie. But a lot of those situations, you should lie.
Right. They can't verify.
Or just not talk. Or not say when people are demanding to get answers, don't say anything.
But they showed that when people were demanding the answers and then they were answering, well, she's hiding something. He's hiding something. Clearly, we don't want to know. They should die next. So, like, lie.
I
Lying is
probably,
your friend.
like, for real. Like, and, okay. If this were a real situation, if real people in the real world were put in this situation, it would be 10 times more chaotic than what we witnessed.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
people would be talking
First of all,
at the same. Everyone would be talking at the same time.
20 of them would have died just trying to leave the platform. First of all,
right?
like, because they would have just been trying to get away the second they woke up. So. I like that room would have cleared out like wicked fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you were put in this situation, what would be your strategy? I feel like when Alex, you mentioned like you should just be quiet, or Jerome, somebody just mentioned like being quiet. I feel like that would have been my strategy. I just would have. That would have been my strategy.
I want to know.
Stay quiet, but like interject when you need to. Do never be the leader because those are the people that get killed off.
I would be quiet just to observe, like spend time learning your environment. A, learning how the game works, but then also B, learning like who's in the room, who looks like they're the most like manipulative, who's the person who's the most docile, who's the person that's the easiest to manipulate, like all these things to figure out like before you make a move. Because if you just start jumping in there, trying to take charge, some people are going to resent you because first of all, you ain't going to tell me what to do. I'm a grown ass man. I'm a grown ass woman. You ain't going to tell me what, whatever. Or the people who do follow you, you got to hope it's people that'll actually have your back and aren't just saying that. But the second that it's not convenient for them, they're going to turn on you. So it's like, don't just hop in immediately. You sit back, let the sheep kill each other. And then afterwards, spend your time analyzing who's the wolves among them.
I think I wouldn't say much at the beginning until like brought up on me, and then I would do the lying thing. But I would just try to keep out of focus, depending on, especially when you can tell people are trying to take control, but they're doing it in the worst. They're being antagonizers more than leaders, and some you can find that, and you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna get killed off. But some are good antagonizers that can hide behind it, really well, like the racist rich guy. He knew when to shut up when he realized the crowd was turning on him. He's like, oh, you're racist. I'm not racist. And then he kind of backed off a little bit. And it was like, okay, you saw when the crowd was turning on you. So you're smarter than that. So it's a good thing to like watch and pay attention. But when addressed, you need to come up with something sympathetic, something for the crowd to be like, well, we don't want to get rid of her because, she's married. Or, with the guy, especially with the antagonizers who are very vocal, like that one that was super annoying, like the rich guy, and then the black dude, you have to find something that'll connect with them so they don't want you dead, which is going to make the whole crowd want you dead, Mm-hmm. So you don't necessarily have to play to the crowd. You have to play to who's ever antagonizing the crowd.
Also, something that other people didn't try either, start pushing people.
Oh.
I honestly thought that a couple times. I was like, just knock them off.
Because if they're right next to you, they look like...
But what if you do that and they eliminate you too? Because it's
worth the risk.
Worth it.
Hey, yeah!
To get that guy with the glasses out sooner, that old man with the glasses,
or the
little girl. Was it crying that much?
That'd be cruel. If you just leaned over, kick her over Sparta
Girl,
style.
stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about.
It's gonna come down to the woman, the pregnant woman, or the kid.
I hope
So
you
the
know about
pregnant
your
woman,
Lord and
possibly.
Savior Jesus Christ because you fitting to meet him. Hey, yeah.
Look, your parents are probably dead. You're gonna end up in an orphanage anyway. This is better for all of us.
That's just cruel.
They should have done that. They should have pushed he was like one of the first antagonizers. The skateboard guy, the Asian guy. Remember him?
I kind of liked him for a little bit.
I liked him. I thought he actually had some good points. For
Yeah.
Getting on my nerves. And then he started shutting up a little bit. So I'm like, okay, whatever. You learned, you read the room.
I would have been like, look, all the people of color, that's everybody. Asians, Hispanics, Mexicans, blacks, let's all team up. There's more of us in here than there is white people in here. They had their chance. It's our time now, baby. All right. If we play our cards right, all the people in any other circles that's going on around here, it's going to be a planet full of black people. This is how we get the majority vote in the Senate.
Excuse
I
you.
probably
So
would
you
not
just
be
let me
thinking
die?
that far.
No.
So I'm just out of it. Thanks.
You're black too, Alex. All right. Just deep down somewhere in there.
And say I'm very Mexican. Even the cupware. Can't really hide that part of me.
Nah, I'm just saying, nobody tried to stand on one leg and with the other leg just start hucking people over, just kicking them off their own platform.
I thought about that a couple times. I was like, they should have just pushed that one guy. Tried it. I always would have said it was worth it. If they would have, killed me too, I'd be like, nope, I took him out with me. You know what I would have done before I got shot was just grab somebody else. Be like, you're gonna die. Fine. And I grab the person. So when I fall back, they fall back with me.
Just like, they gotta die too. I ain't taking this L by myself.
Yeah. Be like, all right, you're gonna die. Fine. Just like body grab somebody in front of me. Be like, you're coming with me.
What it is you don't get enough time because by the time you're voted, you just die. It's like a lightning strike.
See, I feel like you got enough time because enough people had a little monologue being like, how dare you all die? You had at least like maybe 3 seconds.
You know someone else, they didn't try either? Timing it. Timing the lightning strike because maybe you can dodge it. If you jump out the way.
No, because you can't get off the platform.
Well, yeah, but they didn't. It never. Granted, no one experimented with this, so we don't know if it's true or not. But it never shot 2 lightning bolts at the same person at the same time. Only other people.
I assumed the lightning bolt came like up from the platform. Did it not?
I couldn't tell. It was hard to tell.
Assumed
based
that
off
it was.
the...
Yeah, I assumed that it wasn't like a pew pew or like a zap or
like
whatever. I assumed that it was
bolt,
like
yeah.
within and somehow they shocked him or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. Like it came up. Also, really quick, because we're getting close to the end. But there was like the funniest part of this movie was the way the bodies were dragged off screen.
Yeah, it was so funny because you just imagine some like PA on set that they just.
They're like, all right, ready, all together, really smoothly. 1, 2, 3, pull, and they pull them across the floor so swiftly.
Also, it made me laugh because I'm just like that's like our mind thinking about the actual behind the scenes, but in universe, who is doing that? Is the ship just have a cleaning service, or is there actual aliens just being like, oh shoot, they died, hold on, don't see me,
like drew into the darkness.
Just throwing
and
you,
did
just
you notice
dragged into the darkness.
if you watch this movie again, you'll notice that the only people they show getting zapped and like falling is like the guys, like the younger guys, because they're like, okay, these are the guys we know can do the stunt, so we're gonna have them do the fall.
You're the only guys that can survive hitting the ground.
Yeah, the old people, you do not see any old person get zapped and fall. You just see the reactions of people next to them.
You know what's also interesting? When they all fell backwards. Nobody ever just crumbled to the ground. It's like
no, one girl did.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm. She was like one of the like random ones who like you didn't even know who she was because she was just in the background and she's like collapsed to the ground.
I think it was the first guy who died. He died with like his arm up too, so it looked like somebody was just dragging him by his arm.
It's especially sucks, like, because, like, you know what's worse about being in that first round of eliminations, though? You never knew what was happening. You just, as far as you knew, you woke up and then died. That's it. You didn't get to actually, like, find out at least, like, what's going on. You're going to the pearly gates, and it's just like, what happened? Honestly, it's going to take a minute to explain. So why don't you just sit down real quick here in the lobby? It's going to take a minute.
We have a whole group coming in. We'll do a presentation in a moment.
Yeah, we'll do a whole PowerPoint presentation. It's gonna be real elaborate. It's gonna be cookies though. Ooh.
And they said they were all in the same traffic, right? They were all abducted from the same area relatively.
Which that's
trash.
Okay, traffic already is trash as hell already, and now you've made traffic even worse.
Man, I'm already
all
scared
these
my
abandoned
car's gonna.
now.
Yeah, I'm already scared my car's gonna die. Now I gotta worry about being abducted to space. That's not cool.
And on top of that, they got abducted straight up, so you know they're just wasting gas down there. That shit's still running.
What are you talking about? That car crashed.
And they said it was LA too, so that's extremely bad as well.
Right.
Man, that's a bunch of car crashes. That's a pile up. That's why you can't get on the 10.
Imagine trying to get back to your vehicle if you're the one who survives, and you're just like, God damn it! How am I supposed to get my car back?
Well, there was a time in Seattle.
All these cars.
I think it was when the president was in town, and then they had like a freaking concert. There's like 4 major events happening. Pretty much the whole bridge, the I think it was the 90 or whatever was shut down, and people were literally sitting on top of their cars. They turned off their cars because they're like, we're just in traffic now. And I was like, the people who walked away were like, I gotta use the bathroom, I'm just gonna stroll off. I was like, do you think about coming back to your car and hoping the traffic's still there so that your car hasn't moved? Or are you hoping to be like, oh, I'll come back and traffic's just suddenly moving again? Like the people who abandon their cars in really bad traffic, I always wonder about that. I'm like, are you hoping to come back to full on traffic still, or like your car's the only one not moving?
That's true. If you just leave it, like eventually it's gonna clear up, and your car is just gonna be there and get towed, probably.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, you know what I mean? Like you've only like, if anything, you know what? Kill me, all right? Because I'm clearly not going home. All right, just screw it. Just make it happen.
And why was nobody was in, like, everybody was either in their work clothes or like casual clothes. Why was nobody in sweats? Why was nobody in like pajamas? Like,
because it's the middle of the day. If you're in your pajamas in the middle of the day and you don't work night shifts, then you need to see a therapist.
Because this movie had a low budget.
And it's okay.
Look, just put on something that you think your character would wear and show up on set.
I'm pretty sure they just said,
look bad.
Bring your clothes for the day.
Right.
Because I have to admit, I have to imagine shooting this was probably really rough, because there's so many scenes with all of them there, and there's like there's great coverage of all of the shots. Like I can't imagine what their shot list looked like or their storyboard looked like, but I have to imagine it was very detailed, because you don't want to miss anything, and everybody's there on the day. Like it probably took them, like, I want to say, like, just look at this script and looking at this movie, I can imagine this took like a few days to film.
Which is probably why, and like one of my criticisms is that some of the deaths of the people who don't say anything are a little awkward, because it's like they get accused or they get voted on, and then they give a couple looks like, and then they die. Like in that moment, in my last moments, I don't think I'd just be doing this.
So really quick, intervening with the movie Longlegs, a little spoiler is the character deep breathes a lot throughout the whole movie. And she's supposed to be an FBI agent, but all you hear is, and she's like running back and forth. She's like it's not so hard. She's just, and it's like, did they not train you in the FBI to breathe through your nose when you run? Like, I understand it's an anxiety-inducing situation, and they're like, the deep breathing is supposed to make you connect with her panic more, but I just kept getting distracted. I was like, you cannot sneak up on anybody. In fact, I think you probably, because I deep breathe a lot sometimes, I think you need a CPAP machine because on the days I don't wear my CPAP machine, my breathing's off. So like maybe look into that. Deviated septum, something. I don't know if that's bashing the actress, and I do apologize, but also I did not like that deep breathing. And you're right. I don't think in my last moments I would probably just curse everybody in my last moments.
I just start praying. You know what I mean? Secure my spot in heaven right now while I got the time, and just make it do what it do, and just be like, listen, I know where I'm going. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
Oh, one thing people fear the most is curses, and I'm definitely leaving that. You're all cursed.
But with those people who like going to the budget thing, those people who don't have any lines and just deep breathe when they're about to die, I think that's because of the budget. In that, like, if someone has lines in the movie, then you have to pay them more than if they don't have lines. So I think
I could see that.
Yeah, I think that's the reason why like half the people in the movie talk and half the people just die unceremoniously.
Well, you need some people to just be bodies,
Right.
And also, I was Wikipedia says that principal photography lasted 2 weeks, so that makes sense. I mean, like, because if you could rent out a warehouse for like 2 weeks to film this, or a studio to film
and it didn't
this.
have a complex set design or anything like that.
Exactly, yeah.
They didn't change locations or scenery or anything. A lot of the things would probably have to be the way they shot outside the circle, and probably poor cameraman got dizzy getting swooshed around, and he was like, focus on this guy, now this guy, and this guy.
Well, that's the interesting thing about the cinematography in this movie is you never get confused. Like, as far as like there's a thing, I don't know if either you know what the 180 rule is, the 180 degree rule is. So for Jonathan, like, the 180 degree rule is basically when you're filming a scene of someone talking, you always have to film it at a line that's like 180 degrees. So that's why you'll always see, like, someone's talking to me, they're filming over here at that person. If it's the vice versa, same thing. Because if you cross the line, it gets confused. It disorients the viewer, and that's what the 180 degree rule is. You always stay on that flat 180 degree line, or on that flat side of the line. And this is really confusing because everybody's in a circle, and sometimes they're not talking to someone directly in front of them. They're talking to someone who's on the side of them, or they're looking at someone who's behind another person, or whatever. Like, there's a lot of different angles of people looking at different people because they're in a circular space. And yet they really make a good job of not confusing you on, even if people aren't necessarily facing nobody, who's talking to who. And it's like, and that's really cool. And I think they did a great job of keeping the cinematography in a way that it doesn't disorient you, bouncing around between all these different people. Because there's times where people who aren't even part of a conversation are seeing things. They're reacting to somebody else doing something, or they're talking to another person having another smaller conversation. And you're like, okay, like, and there's ways to film that when you have, certain spaces. In this case, though, it's different. So kudos to the cinematography.
Yeah. They did a good job.
Last thing I was just gonna say real quick. The lady who played the fake wife, funny enough, one of her best known roles is as Rita Bennett on Dexter.
Oh my God, that was her?
That's what Wikipedia says.
It does not look like her. That's news to me. I've been watching that show.
Well,
that's weird. That feels like a weird connection. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's Julie Benz.
Oh. Yeah, it does not look like her at all. You know why? Because it's the energy she's giving in this movie. She's more outspoken. She's more firm. She's louder. When they have Rita in the show, she's very timid, very quiet, speaks very softly, never raises her voice and everything. So it's the she does really great job. She in both the movie and the show, she's portraying such different characters, And she really can play to both those characters, the quiet, timid, and then the very loud woman who's, of course, afraid. She plays fear on two different levels, and that's very interesting of how she's able to showcase the fear on the two different levels.
Also, thinking of other people we should have recognized. We should have recognized Carter Jenkins. He's the guy the young guy who suggested killing all of the old people because he's in Valentine's
Day.
That movie gave me an anxiety attack. Who did he play in Valentine's Day?
Last year. He played
Alex
the boyfriend
Franklin?
of Emma Roberts' character. The one who, like, the mom walks in on him, like, being naked in her daughter's room.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That movie gave me an anxiety attack. It was because it was 45 minutes into that film, and then they introduced another new character. I was like, no, this is too much. What happened to just following around like 6 couples or something? Who is this man? Who is this white man? It was Bradley Cooper, for those who ask.
But yeah, so that's Circle. Anybody else have any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
That's it for me.
It was an interesting movie, and if you haven't watched it, I suggest watching it and trying to see if you can figure out how would you play it, what your thoughts are, and it's a great comparison to, I hadn't thought about it but I've been thinking about it while we were talking about this, the difference comparisons to like the movie to reality TV or survival reality TV, where it's a human experiment and it's a game all wrapped in one, and people like to focus on one aspect or the other, but it's both. I mean, all those games of reality shows are human experiments. How we interact with each other, what characters we view are the weakest and want to get rid of, to what characters we see are more vulnerable, but for some reason don't see them as weak and want to keep them along, Because like with the pregnant woman and the kid, they weren't the weakest, but they were the most vulnerable. And that made them stay longer compared to like the older people who were seen weaker, not necessarily more vulnerable, and they were just automatically kicked out. And it's much like that done in reality games, how we talked about the one quiet guy who like doesn't bother anybody. He's seen not as weak, but he is a little vulnerable because you're like, oh, he's quiet, he's shy. We don't want to be the dicks towards this guy. And then in the end, he turned out to be the master manipulator, So I think this movie's a pretty good show if you do, or a pretty good movie.
Yeah, they had weapons. Throw shoes.
Again, that's another way to knock someone off that platform. Just take your shoe.
Yeah.
Good with.
Like a boomerang.
You could take 2 people out.
The chocolate.
Be like, I'm taking out that guy and I'm taking out that guy.
Yeah, so that's the Circle. Oh no, Circle. Sorry. There's too many damn Circle things.
Yeah.
I know.
Now look who's
Netflix
doing
has
it.
too much Circle. Yeah.
Anyway, that's Circle. Comment below. Tell us what you thought about the movie. If you have seen it, did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? If you haven't seen it, are you going to see it? Well, I mean, it's going to be a little disappointing because now we've kind of spoiled a lot of the people who are bad, and also who maybe dies. But still, it's still a fun time.
Like
Spoiler alert!
Spoilers.
Everyone but one dies in this movie.
Can't believe you ruined it like that. I mean, I'm a person who likes spoilers. I'll before I watch a movie, I'll actually read about it sometimes on Wikipedia and see how it ends and be like, all right, I think I want to watch it now to see how they get there. So, I mean, I'm one of those terrible people who do that.
But regardless of what you're thinking, comment below. Tell us what you think about Circle. But before we go, as we do with every show, socials. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me at Alex and Nobody on Instagram and on TikTok, as well as the podcast. Will you just bring up Gibson? I want to see him. I see you petting him off to the side. And you can find me on the...
Deny her.
I need you. There's my Gibson. I saw you below. You can also follow me at the podcast TikTok, The First Ones to Die, where I show little clips of the episodes. He's so sleepy. Episodes we have done, episodes and topics we may talk about, and then random videos I watch when I'm bored. You're going to see some X-Men coming up soon because I've been enjoying that marathon going on right now. How about you, Jonathan? Where are we seeing you? Hi, Gibson. You're so handsome.
Why is he just staring into the?
He's
Okay,
so
now he's
sleepy.
looking at me.
Because he
was
sees
just,
me.
like,
He's
staring.
waiting
Why'd you
for
pick me
He's
up?
waiting for his affirmations, and that is because he's a good boy. He's adorable, and you're so handsome, Gibson. Yes, you are. He's like, I know it. I know it.
He's like, why'd you
Anyway.
pick me up? Why do you do this to me?
Put your full
Just to
front of
make me
camera. He's
suffer?
like, I.
You can. Oh, okay.
All right,
You
he's
can
done.
find me at. You can find me and Gibson at Jonathan Keys on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you please. You can follow us at The First Ones to Die on all your favorite social media platforms. You
He's like, why are you telling him where we live, man?
can...
Just too much information. I like my privacy.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a like and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on audio, go ahead and give us 5 stars and a review. We would appreciate it very much. Jerome, where can people find you?
You can find me at Not Jerome Rhett on Instagram. And speaking of YouTube, there's plenty of reason to subscribe because there's a bunch of extra content on YouTube that you cannot get on the audio streaming platforms. Stuff like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming content, vlogs, all types of things. So go on over there. Please do subscribe if you're listening to this on the audio version. And if you're already on the YouTube, once again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your viewership. And tune in next week for maybe Divorce in the Black. Possibly. We don't know.
Fuck Ben.
But until then, have a good night, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening to this, and we will see you for the next one. Bye.
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 The Circle, a psychological science. What? What was that?
It's just circle. It's just circle.
Fair enough. Okay.
Doing the does.
Go on over to the YouTube channel at The First Ones to Die to see all the fun stuff we got going on here, like mini reviews, book reviews, gaming videos, vlogs, all types of stuff.
Please follow us at The First Ones to Die everywhere. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe.